It's not a
by
lie.
accident.
I've straight up never heard you sing. Or Luke.
Don't put her on the spot, because now she won't do it.
I definitely
Well,
won't
you've already
do
told
it.
me you owe me and that you would for me, and then you never did.
In
so
private.
You're just a
We'll do it in
liar.
private. It'll be a sensual experience, everybody.
I'll bring the coconut oil.
Ooh, lavender, some clary sage.
Yeah.
So funny.
Let me turn the sound off this phone.
Okay, well, I haven't told you guys, but I pressed record.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
This is RealMomly with Charlie and Caitlyn.
And Michaela.
Today we have a guest,
Yay!
Michaela.
Michaela's in town from Rado.
Yeah.
Put the rat in Colorado.
Oh my God, that was a
No,
little.
take that out.
She's nervous. This is her first podcast. Not that we have a ton of followers, but hey, you know.
This will be one of the beginning episodes, and it'll be in the future.
30
you've got-
people will listen to this.
I'm just saying, once you have 300 episodes out, and then you hit Crime Junkie and Morbid, and all those ones where you go back and listen to the early episodes, because everyone's already diehard fans.
Yeah, we'll see if we get there.
This headphone is super weird.
Your hair looks great, though.
Thank you. Thanks. It's haven't washed it in a while.
All right. Well,
So we're just gonna talk today. Michaela is Caitlyn's sister. We've all known each other since we were our whole lives.
Since we were babies. Itty bitty
Yeah,
babies.
little babes.
My whole life.
but
Yeah.
she's not a mom. So
Not
we're
a
going to put
mom.
a pause on the mom talk because she doesn't have experience. She has auntie-experience, but no mom experience.
That's true.
So she's going to talk about we've discussed anxiety and depression and birth control and that kind of stuff on our end after having babies, but she's going to talk about it as part of her life, minus the baby part, and how her experiences have gone and what she's done to help herself. And then whatever else she wants to talk about. Maybe we can get her to
whatever else we
gush
all
some
talk
about, relationships and
Sex.
yeah.
The fun stuff.
The motion of the
drugs.
ocean.
Oh my God. Oh shit.
All right, so what do we want to start with?
Whatever you want to start with. You want to start with, let's start with your birth control and how you think that's helped you or not helped you, and then we can go into your anxiety and that kind of thing.
So, birth control. You actually got me my first birth control, Caitlyn. When I came to visit and you found out I wasn't a virgin anymore and got mad that I had sex when I was not on birth control.
Oh my God, did she take you to the clinic?
She
and
did.
get you?
Yeah,
Oh
sure.
shit.
The health department.
Yeah.
Got free shit.
I don't put it past you.
Yeah.
It was great.
There
And
you go.
I really liked the first one that I got. So I no longer do oral pills, the daily pills, because I am so bad at taking them. I had 3 reminders on my phone, and I would still forget, and then sit there. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm taking 3 pills today, because I missed the last 3
Oh my
days.
gosh. I feel like I've done that a few times. Or I would just I missed those 2 days, I'll just...
Well, it's one of those,
Take one.
I'd see it, I'm like, I don't want that reminder that I'm so bad at this, so I'll just pop them all so it looks like I remember to. And then I get, so nauseous and hormonal and usually just cry a lot. That's when I get too many hormones or not enough hormones or whatever. I just cry. I'm, angry and sad and frustrated, and it all goes right to the tear ducts. It's good. Just routes right there, right down Main Avenue. So I was on those pills here, and that was when I was like, I'm moving to Florida. This is going to be it. I'm following Caitlyn. I'm going to move here. It's going to be a great life. And then I looked at college tuition. I'm like, Colorado's not so bad.
Yeah.
Especially when you've in-state
Yeah.
tuition, and that cuts it in half.
Yes, absolutely. So I ended up not staying for the whole summer, but the birth control, because they give it to you, the 3 months to start with. Mm-hmm. And when I went back to Colorado and the health department there, they did not have the same birth control. So I did low Autostrel when I was here, which was a super low dose hormone, and it was great. I really liked it. I didn't have side effects. I didn't get back knee or gain weight or cry more than usual.
It was like a normal.
Yeah.
You felt
It felt
normal.
great. I just knew when I was going to get my period, which normally it was just one of those pleasant surprises. I'm like, good thing I'm wearing my bad panties. But then when I went back to Colorado and went to the health department, all they had was this one called Reclipsin, which was awful. Straight up hated it. I think I was only on it for like 3 or 4 months, but during those 3 or 4 months, I was in school, so I was doing like 6 classes at a time, and my anxiety and depression got so severe when I had that, where like I'd be driving home crying, like full-blown meltdown where I can't see, I can't breathe, I'm crying so hard I had to pull over in a parking lot and puke because I was crying so hard.
Wow.
And it was just like that all the time. Like I couldn't feel happy. I was having really negative thoughts. Like everyone would get past it if I weren't here. Like, yeah, mom would be sad, but she still got Caitlyn, and
She'll be fine.
she'll get past it. It's fine. And, you know, vice versa. Caitlyn will be fine. She's got mom. They got each other. And after a while, I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. So I went back to the health department. I was like, look, I'm feeling legitimately crazy. And I don't know if it's this. I'm like, I was on the super low dose hormone before, and this is a lot higher of a dose. Can I have anything else?
Which also, that's crazy that they would just switch you from a super low dose to even like a few amounts higher. Like, I mean, I know that's the health department and they have what they have, but don't you think they could have at least gone like lower?
I mean, the health department where I got mine from, I had the same kind, but they started out as whatever the original is that has the regular amount of hormones, and then they switched me to the low one because I was having issues. So I know our health department has like many other options.
Yeah, and
I don't know how others are, but
and I don't know either. All I know is like the health department I went to, because I told them I'm on a low dose and I like the low dose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. Well, here's our low dose, which was honestly like triple what the low dose was that I was
that's
on.
insane. But that's also insane that, like, you know, we just don't think about it. You're like, okay, birth control, like, I gotta, you know, you don't even think about it. They don't make you think of those things because they're just like, yeah, it's birth control. You just take it and you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Birth control is one of these things. I straight up get on a soapbox about it because I hate that it's frankly more on the woman. Like, sure, you can use condoms. No one, let's be honest, guys, no one really enjoys sex with condoms. It's not as good.
It's not fun at all.
No, and everything smells a bit like latex or sheepskin or whatever the hell you're using.
It's like nothing is there. It's just kind of
A
like,
fancy dildo.
yeah, it's just like pressure.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, there's just the intimacy that you get having non-condomed sex, obviously still protected, don't have unsafe sex, but still being safe, taking care of yourself. It's better with that skin to skin. Just
It totally is. And, you know, honestly, like you said, connection, like there is something there, especially when you've been with a partner forever, you're like committed fully. You're not just like fucking around. You know, it's a real, it's like you get a real connection with that. And same with even when he like comes inside of you, like it's a thing. Like it's an intimate, emotional, I don't know the other word I'm looking for, but
connected.
passionate, like, fuck, there's a word that starts with an A that I can't fucking think of. But you know, it's an intimate thing.
It's slightly messy.
It brings the connection stronger. I don't know. Does that sound crazy?
No.
I mean, I feel the same way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So after I went on a new one that was better, where I was less crazy, less psychotic, I just was over taking the daily one. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to get the implant. So I was like, good for 3 years. I don't have to worry about it. It's like 33% chance I will either have a constant period, no period, or a normal period. I'm like, fuck it, let's gamble. Let's see what's happening.
Wait, a 33% chance that any of those three things can happen?
Yes, they are all
And
equally
then that
likely.
1% chance you get pregnant.
It's like 0.0000001.
Dude, what on Mirena, I feel like it was like a 99.9. Like it was like, I feel like 100%.
Yeah, Mirena's a little different though because it's like in your cervix, so it's blocking it as well, and then also creating that mucus so the sperm can't get through.
If
So
I'm-
it's a little bit different than having like just the hormones that implant into your body.
Okay, that makes sense because it also has the hormones.
Yes.
But it also blocks it off.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
So coming at it in every direction.
Yeah, and I was just straight up terrified at the thought of someone putting something inside my cervix.
Well, that makes complete sense because I would have never, ever, ever done that if I didn't give birth.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
That would never have been an
And
option.
our OB recommended not to do it if you haven't had a child because it's so painful.
Yeah, I'm not about it. And I hear horror stories. I mean, you always hear horror stories about any of these birth controls because they're
That's super true.
obligated to tell you all the bad stuff that'll happen.
Yeah.
But like when they were talking,
Really? I've never been explained any of that. Like, even when I talked to my OB when I was nervous about going on birth control again, I was like, I'm really nervous about the hormones. My mom had hormone-positive breast cancer, and that's something that makes me nervous, having those extra hormones in my body. And she's like, well, your body already has the hormones. And I'm like, yeah, but these are synthetic, fake hormones that are not regulated. They're just being, like, pushed out into your body. So no one ever, she's like, nah, you're good. It's fine.
don't worry about it. Your fears, they're not valid.
Exactly. That's how I felt.
I get that a little bit. Like, I feel like at a certain point, and this is not disparaging on any health departments or anything, they're amazing resources. It's great 'cause I never
Hell
had
yeah.
insurance when I used them. So they were literally all I had if
I mean, STD testing, everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's so beneficial. I completely agree.
I went there for all of that. They gave me my first surprise pap smear, which,
I think I
Right,
had my
me
first one there
too.
too.
I think so, too.
so love them. But I feel like a lot of the people that are drawn to that, like more of that public service sort of healthcare, I think they develop a certain edge and like a wall just because they do see people from all different walks of life. So they would see me, a student. I'm working 3 jobs and I'm going to school full time. And then they also see, the mom that has 3 kids, a single mom with that. And then they see the people that do have health insurance, but it's not covered anywhere and this is more convenient. And they just see everyone. They see all walks of life. And I think that's beautiful. But I also think there's a certain like jaded edge to it where they're like, look, this is the science. I'm not going to direct you one way or the other, but here's the science behind it. Make your own decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't feel so much like a counseling service. Like I feel like I get at a regular doctor's now. They're like, well, let's chat about it. They're like, here's a pamphlet.
Yeah. That's really how it is.
A pamphlet. Here you go.
Oh.
That's super true. I haven't been to the real doctor in a long time.
I was
Like your
straight up.
primary doctor?
Yeah. The real doctor. Sorry. The primary doctor. Yeah, no, I've been to an OB health department. That's it.
I feel like every time I go to my primary, I just see the nurse anyway. Like, she's lovely. She knows my name. My doctor walks in and, like, looks at the chart 3 times, and he's like, Michael? I'm like, Michaela. Add an A at the end. Like, and then I get the nervous yammering where I'm like, actually, when the school used to call with automated calls, they call me Michaela. And he's like, huh, nice. So, I, like, finger gun my way through things.
I feel like there are doctors who now can be kind of like a little like impersonable, and the nurses. I've always thought this, and if you don't agree with me, sorry, but I've always thought that nurses like hold it down, man.
And what about like physician assistants? I think those are better than like the actual doctor.
I think they're just better at building that rapport, and I don't know. I like them more. I feel like most of the time when I make my appointments, it's either with just the straight up nurse or the PA, and then it's just the doctor like signing his name or checking a box, and he's like, "Okay, Lydia will take you from here."
That's because technically PAs, they can't like prescribe or like do things that the doctor has to sign
Physician's
off on.
assistant. I know nurse practitioners have to do that in some states as well.
Yeah.
Where they have to be like working under a doctor, and the doctor has to sign off on their prescriptions and stuff like that. Certain prescription, I think.
I don't know. Interesting experience all around. If we're going to be honest, I'm very sidetracked as to where we...
You were talking
know,
about your
me
birth
too.
kit, that you got into the one that goes in your arm.
Oh, yes, the implant. It's weird. I can feel it. If I press on it, you can see it move under my skin.
Ugh, I can't do that.
It's creepy. I make people touch it. They're always like, oh, God, what? Ugh.
I've touched it
I can't
before,
believe it
I
doesn't
think.
hurt. That's my thing.
It does, like, they numb you up. So when
No, I mean like as it's just sitting there.
oh, I'm not gonna lie, like Oakland has a tendency to pinch right there, and that it's not even that it hurts, but I think I know that it's there, and it makes me squeamish. I'm like, gross, you're squeezing something under my skin that shouldn't be there.
Ooh, it's like a piece of rice.
It's so much bigger than a piece of rice. Like,
I was gonna say, a little bigger than that.
it's like a broken spaghetti noodle.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's like
What
it's
the
like
fuck?
3 inches,
Yeah, it's big.
maybe 2 inches.
I really thought it was like a piece
no,
of fucking
like-
rice, bro. Let me see.
Touch it.
I feel it. I feel it.
Like it's not tiny, and it was one of those things.
Not tiny.
It's not, but it's like. So I went in. I got it implanted at the children's hospital because it's free under 25. So I was like, I'm a child. Sign me up. I went when I was like 22. And I'm sitting there, the nurse that put it in, super friendly. And I nervous chatter, as you both know very well. I just turn more and more red as I'm talking. And so I'm just yammering the whole time. And it only took like 10 minutes, and that's with her putting in the anesthesia to make sure that it's numbed in that area. And I'm just talking, and she's like, yep. And then she just puts like, it looked like one of those wrapping paper cutters, and she just put that there and pressed a button, and you just hear and it's like implanted under the skin. She put a Band-Aid on it, and she was like, hey, you can go check out. And I was like, okay. And then I went rock climbing an hour later.
You're done.
Weird. I just don't think I would be okay with that.
Honestly, like,
No, me
I'm
neither.
fine with the implant. It legitimately makes me sweat thinking about getting it taken out because it's only good for 3 years. So come February, I have to get it taken out.
How does
Oh,
that
yeah,
work?
are you gonna get a new one in?
I don't know. So Kyle and I have had the talk because getting back to my soapbox.
Are you trying to have babies?
No, this womb is closed. But
They don't want to have babies.
no,
I was just about to ask that.
no.
Not to like
We've-
overstep.
It's not overstepping. We're very open about it. We are super happy being dog parents. And I hate that because it's disparaging to people that actually have
Oh,
children.
we know. We used to think
but-
we were dog parents, and that's all we
We
needed.
did. We did.
Dog parents are no comparison to actual parents.
You can drop your dog off for 2 weeks and not feel horrible. But if you do that with your child, you feel horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So, not parents, but we are happy being dog owners, and it fits better with our lifestyles. You know, we like to go out hiking and camping and rock climbing, and I'm too selfish to give up that lifestyle, and I've worked very hard for my average physique, and I'm not ready to sacrifice that
dude,
for
I get it.
squeezing a 8 to 10 pound something out of my vagina.
6 to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you've seen how big Kyle is,
You're
that
gonna have a
sucker's gonna be
12-pound
big.
baby.
Do you know how
Now
big
a
he was as a
14.
baby?
I think he was big enough that I apologized to his mother for him.
Sherrod was big. He was over 10 pounds.
Yeah.
What?
But
My
he was
ex
also
was
late.
12 pounds.
He was also late.
Ugh, it freaks me out. And the whole thought, like I said, I'm just too selfish at this point in my life for kids. And I don't know, I'm very happy being an aunt. And
Do you think you would think about it in the future, or just like you're thinking like, right now I'm good. Later on,
I don't know, because
Nah.
I've never pictured myself with kids. Like, I remember talking with you and Katie, like, years ago, and you both were like, oh yeah, I want kids. I'm going to be a mom. Like, that's going to happen for me. And I remember thinking like, oh God, okay, let that happen for you. I'm like, and I will change diapers when I want to.
It's hard to be completely selfless and have a child, because that's really what it is.
and sometimes it really fucking sucks.
I'm not there, and I don't know if I will ever be there. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm almost missing that maternal instinct. Like, I like taking care of others. I like that, but I don't know that I have that for myself, where I want to
I get that.
procreate.
Give that up. I totally get that. I mean, today at work, this girl was talking about how like her and her husband last night went on a walk, and they have a lot going on. So they were just talking, and it was raining, and it was like how like fucking like romantic and cheesy it was. On a walk, it's raining. Sunset. She's like, it was just the best night, and I'm like, wow, am so fucking jealous.
You mean you weren't wet from bath time?
Right? It's such a sad thing. And then, you know, when Cole goes to bed, you're like, all right, fuck. Gotta clean the house, clean the dishes, you know, like go to bed, fit sex in there somewhere after you're like trying not to fall asleep, and, you know, and you're just like,
Laying in bed, look over. Do you want to? we can.
it's usually like I'm like falling asleep and Jake's like, hey. I'm like,
So they do the casual thing where kind of tilts his pelvis to you, and he's like, I've got something.
Oh my god, you want to touch it?
I hate that. Do you want to touch it? No, I don't want to touch it.
Smartass, I'm like, oh God, how did you know? I was sitting here so empty going, man, if only there was a penis in my hand or mouth or vagina to make me feel complete right now.
Like, at least be sexy about it. Don't ask me if I want to touch it.
Saying, don't be like, you know, like they come up all funny like, hey, you want to touch it? It's right here.
I feel like I get a lot of the, I'll roll over into like my sleep position, which I'm spooning Mimi on my belly, who's my small dog. And then I like have my pillow smushed just right, and then Kyle will come up to spoon me and like move it so it's notched into place, and like casually roll his hip forward, and I'm like, do you want something? And he goes, I was just thinking.
I love that they all have their little things. Like you, like they get the look, and you're like, And it's always at like the worst time. Like, why couldn't you have come to me like 20 minutes before this?
Yeah.
Like, you wait till now? Like, really?
I straight up talked to Kyle about that. I'm like, look, I get you like sex as we go to bed, but like, I've already done my nightly routine. I have flossed.
I'm ready to go to bed.
I have brushed. The retainer is in. I have zit cream on my face. I am in sleep position, and here you are with your little friend. And I'm like, look, you need to come to me before 9 p.m.
There is a curfew.
I feel that way, though. Or, like, mornings for work days. A little different now that I'm working from home for freaking ever, it seems. But he'd, like, wake up, you know, inevitable morning would. And, like, let's cuddle for a minute. I'm like, okay, we can cuddle. And then it's, like, 2 rounds of snooze later, and he's like, okay, now let's have sex. And I'm like, looking at my clock, going, no, it's already 6:45, and I have to be at work soon, so enjoy the shower.
Oh my gosh. Is that like a weird thing? Do you guys feel weird if like they like, you know, like masturbate and you know they're like watching porn or something? Does that like, or does that like kind of like, you're like, huh, all right.
I'm like, what kind of porn are you watching over there?
That's what I asked Kyle. I'm like, what kind of porn do you like? Like, let me know if that's something you like, and like I'm okay trying it out or something like that.
Okay,
like,
porn star over here.
Oh, yeah,
You don't know what
that's
kind of
what-
shit he's watching.
It's mainly just Jeep videos. We always have a joke because he's super
My
into
God.
Jeeps. He loves Jeeps. So like walking, he's watching Jeep videos. I'm like, you're watching porn right here, out in the open. He gets like Jeep magazines. And he's like, ooh, my nightly mag came.
Oh, jeez.
But honestly, like I don't mind when he masturbates. Just like he doesn't care if I masturbate.
yeah.
So there's every now and then where I'm like, I just really want to have an orgasm, but I really don't want to reciprocate. So I'm just gonna.
That's super true. But do you think of how many times where it's been like the opposite, where it's like you got them off and they didn't get you off?
Yeah, that actually happened not too crazy long ago, and it was just one of those, we didn't have the same expectation going into it because we were kind of like flirting throughout the night, and then we went to go watch a movie, and I'm like, this is it. We're gonna have sex now. Like, I was horny. I was already wet. I'm like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna have like surprise sex, and he loves when that happens. Like, let's be honest, what guys just doesn't like when you come up and you're like, okay, let's go fuck now. Sorry, Mom. Super true. So
Yeah, I tell my dad not to listen.
So it's just one of those where I'm like, great, this is it. And I like went down on him. I finished him with a blowjob, and I was like, okay, so we're not gonna have sex.
But he's gonna finish me.
And so I'm like, okay, my turn. And he like looked at me and kind of like played with his beard for a second. He's like, do you want to? And I was like, yes, I do.
What?
And he was like, quiet for me. He kind of just went,
Oh,
and I was like,
man.
but I can clearly tell you don't. So I like grab my panties in a huff and walk out of the room with as much dignity as I can when I'm like basically Winnie the Poohing it, because I just had a big old t-shirt on that I put back on haughtily. And I like just walk out with Mimi following me.
Oh my gosh. I've done it where where you get like you put like lingerie on because you're like, all right, they're gonna come home and you're feeling good, and then like they get home and they're like, hey, what's up, how you doing? Yeah, and they like go into the next room and you're like, yeah, okay, bye.
I shaved for you.
They don't notice the little things. I don't shave very often, man. Come on.
I make Kyle know. Like, I walk in and he'll be sitting at the computer and I just put my leg on the desk. I'm like, oh, hey, come here often. He's like, I take it you shaved? And I was like, yes, touch it. Touch my legs.
I shaved my upper thigh the other
Only
day.
whores do that.
I shaved my upper thigh.
But did you shave your toe?
And I have not
No,
shaved
I
my big
didn't.
toe in years. I used to shave
Me
it all the
neither.
time.
It kind of makes
I've
me
never
wanna
had
look
to
at
shave my big toe. But I've not shaved my knees or upper thighs, I think, since I was 19.
Hey man, for mine started getting like black on the top. And that's not how they were for a while. It just like recently started getting.
Was it after Cole?
Yeah. Well, I stopped shaving them when I was pregnant, and then I just haven't shaved them since. And then at work, when you wear shorts, you can feel like
Chafing?
it's like you can feel the dirt because it catches when you're planting plants and everything, and the dirt catches on your hair, and then everything you think you're like, ooh, what?
Yeah. I have that, but when it's my own hair falling out of my head and like brushing
I do
against
that
my arm
so
or my leg.
often.
And I'm always like, okay, don't freak out. And I inevitably freak out where I'm like, get it off. And it's just my hair. Because, you're betrayed just enough times where you're like, it's just my hair. And you look down and it's a spider crawling up your arm or something where you're like, I can't stay calm until I know what it is.
Oh my fucking goodness. The other day at work, I was checking somebody out, and I kept having this tickle on the back of my neck. And I did this in. I'm like, it's just a hair. Then all of a sudden, I feel a really strong tickle. I'm like, that is not just my hair. And I flick it, and a huge spider jumps out right in front of me on the keyboard. And I played it so cool in front of that customer, I didn't even blink.
No way.
Dude, it was awful. I wanted to cry.
I couldn't
Was
do
your
it.
hair up? I'm like so nervous. I went camping with my friend in high school once. We would go camping all the time, and I remember they had like one of those portable showers or whatever, and it was just like a brown shower curtain with like a spout or whatever. And she was taking a shower, and I remember her coming out, and she was saying that a spider had come out of her hair while she was in the shower, and ever since then I think about that all the time. I'm like, oh my god, what if I have bugs in my hair? What if there's a spider in my hair? Like, nope,
Can't do it. We had that happen.
Hell no.
This past weekend, Kyle and I were Easton proofing the fence at our house, putting up some chicken wire because our neighbor's fence is garbage and they won't replace it. And I'm sitting there, we had to get like in the bushes to get this chicken wire behind it. I'm sitting there and like my shoelace would kind of tickle my ankle, but I'm like, it's just my shoelace, it's just my hair, it's just parts of me that should be there. And I'm like sitting there, and Kyle's like, okay, I need you to pull this taut so I can fix it in place. I'm like, okay, I can pull it taut, I can do that. And I like go to pull it, and I'm like, it's just a hair, it's just my shoelace, that's all I'm feeling. And I look down, and it's only a daddy long leg, I realize that, but it's crawling up my leg. And I was like, and I like freak out so badly, and I like smack my ankle hard enough that I had a swollen red handprint on my leg for like 30 minutes, and damn near felt like crying. And Kyle's like, okay, I still need you to pull it taut. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. I almost died.
If Granddaddy Longleg's mouth were a little bit bigger,
yeah, they're poisonous.
dead.
Ugh.
Yeah, they just have to bite you like 50 million times. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's spiders, and we've got like so many black widows at our house. I say so many. Kyle says a few. I say enough that I've seen them and counted them, and that's too many.
That's more than I've seen. And we're in Florida.
I saw one today at work, and it was huge.
They have the juice.
Like in a plant?
In a plant right before we were, like as we were unloading plant. So like my friend or my coworker went to grab the plant, and the guy was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! There's a black widow, black widow!" Like she almost stuck her hand right in the little nest. It had like 4 sacks of babies.
Oh, no. We had that in our mailbox.
Ooh. We just went on a really long tangent about spiders.
There are people that are watching this and they're going like, preach. I feel this. Yeah. Or listening or however.
They're watching.
They're rubbing their arms and they're like, it's just a hair.
Dude, it's like when you see the ant, you see all the ants on TV and you're like, no, there's no ants in here. It's just the TV.
I'll never forget. There was this one time, now that we're talking about spiders, because I had to talk about it. It's just, it's stuck in my memory. We were at a friend's house, and they had a campfire in the back, and they had big old trees. He lives out in Cocoa, and so lots of land, lots of trees or whatever, and we're all hanging out, whatever. And I remember standing there, and his girlfriend was standing there at the time, and he was like, he pulled her out, pulled her to the side just in the nick of time, and he shined the flashlight up, and it was this, I'm not even kidding, it was like this big of a spider dropping down to land right on the top of her head, and I was just like, what kind of spider is that? Oh, I will never forget that.
Was it a wolf spider?
No, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't a wolf spider, but it was a huge whatever it was.
Oh, no.
I got bit by a wolf spider on my inner thigh once.
You did?
Yeah. Do you remember when my ex and I were living in Palm Bay, and I sent you the picture of the huge spider on the wall because I was trying to get it, and then the next
I remember
it was like a
this.
few nights after that I woke up with a huge big old
So it crawled in bed with you?
Yep. Oh my god, how fucking gross is that? My inner fucking thigh.
It was that close to your vagina.
It was so close. It's freaky, and wolf spiders are just
They're fast, and they're big, and they're nasty.
Not about it. Do you remember at Debbie's house? I think it was when she was in St. Cloud.
It was in the pantry.
And the cats kept jumping, trying to get it. And we're just like, what are they doing? And I swear, this is probably because I was like 8 at the time. But I'm like, that's as big as a damn dinner plate.
No, it was huge. I remember that. It was really big. But Debbie doesn't believe in killing them. Killing them.
Yeah, they kill the bugs. They're good. Spiders are good.
Yeah, spiders eat the bugs. And the wolf spiders eat the bugs in the house.
Okay, but keep in mind, this is coming from the woman who is terrified of frogs.
Yeah.
I feel like my fear is more justified.
I would be afraid of toads.
And lizards.
And lizards.
Very much so lizards. Very much so, which I just fucking found out because I always thought, I'm like, oh, the green lizards are so cool. They're so pretty, and they just sit there and they perch, and, they don't do too much. I really like these green lizards. They fucking change colors. You know what? And a fucking, 7-year-old told me that. I'm like, oh my God, look at this green one. He's like, yeah, they all change colors.
Nonchalant, it just totally rocked your world.
It did. It rocked my world. Oh my God. So at work, I go around when there's a green one, and I will chase it and watch it. And I'm like,
change colors.
I saw one do it in front of my eyes.
Really?
Oh. Yes, because it I was trying to look at it, and I was trying to get my phone out, and take a cool picture and everything. And it felt probably threatened because it started changing from bright green to a brownish, and then a blackish, and then
it was gone.
Bye. It was gone.
Weird. I didn't know that.
Ugh, they're so gross.
It's the whole tail shedding thing that bothers me. Just when
I
you think
don't
you've got it,
mind
you
the
can get it out and it
lizards.
drops, and you're just holding.
I just don't like spiders. So I learned this trick. I'm gonna explain it right now because it's so cool. I need to share it. So we have a really big problem at our house with bees and wasps. They're everywhere. No matter how many times we spray, out front, out back, they're always there. I cannot walk out my front door without feeling attacked because there's some sort of bee or wasp there. I hate it. So I learned this trick. I don't remember. I saw it on Pinterest or an email or whatever it was. So you take a brown paper bag and you stuff it with whatever. I stuffed it with other bags, like Walmart bags. And then you crinkle it up. And then you tie a string and you hang it. And it's supposed to keep them away because they think it's a hornet's nest. So I tried it. I tied it up. When was it? 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Or yesterday?
Yesterday, I
it
think.
works.
Yeah, and I haven't seen one out front yet.
Wait, and this is to keep away bees
And wasps.
What if it's another
and
hornet?
wasps.
Are they going to see that and be like, time to challenge it?
I have no idea, but I just heard like really good things about it, that it was like a good natural thing because I wasn't sure what to do because we spray all the time, but
They keep coming
yeah,
back.
so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this. And yeah, it might look a little tacky with a big old brown paper bag hanging in front of my house, my front house door by my door or whatever. But if it's going to work, I'd rather that because I hate them. I can't even sit outside without like jerking and like constantly looking over my shoulder because I think that there's like a bee or a wasp or something.
Get that nervous twitch going.
Yeah.
Bees usually won't mess with you, but I feel like I'm definitely afraid of wasps.
Yeah, for sure. I feel
And
like I have a
hornets.
lot at my house and I don't even understand it. I don't understand why we have so many. I feel like our house is the only one that gets swarmed by them.
I wonder if it's because it's yellow.
I don't know. Does that matter?
I don't know.
Aunt Jessie's house was yellow,
Did she have a lot of wasp? No. Well,
but she was
not
also
yellow.
beachside. Do they go beachside?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can they make it over the bridge?
I live in Rado.
Do wasps fly? Do they even sting you? I don't know.
I feel like beachside though is like a whole other world. Like you very rarely get things like you would get mainland or like living with trees. Like if you have a bunch of trees around
That's
your
true.
house.
That's true.
think-
I remember having wasp at my house beachside.
You had nests in your backyard, though. That's different.
At your parents' house?
Yeah. Josh and I would get out there and spray the shit out of them.
I always remember that, like, when we were little and going to play, that there'd be nests and stuff in the back.
Yeah. And in the front
Well,
sometimes
then I
too.
guess they do live beachside. They like the beach living.
They can fly over the bridge.
They're just assholes everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I digress. Where were we, ladies?
We can get past birth control, I guess. You want to talk about...
Moral of the story is birth control is different for everybody, even if you haven't had a baby.
Yep. And science, step up your game so guys can take care of that for a while. Because I honestly don't know what I'm like without being on birth control. I don't remember who I am.
Oh,
Have you ever thought about like I feel like everyone knocks on it, but like
The pull and pray?
I did that and I had a baby. So
I was like, no, I'm not considered pull and
if
pray.
you're fertile, you will have a child if you do the pull out method. But I've also heard that certain men's like pre-cum, not every man has sperm in their pre-cum.
Oh, and just making him pull out? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying that pre-cum can have sperm. It just depends on the man.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like even if you do pull out, there's pre-cum already inside of you, and if it has sperm in it, which is honestly that has to be how I got pregnant because I do not know how it happened.
It was supposed to happen, so it happened.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
pre-cum, whatever. Yeah, that.
I don't know. We've kind of like talked about it, not terribly seriously yet because
Because
February
you know,
away.
technically that is like a method, like the pull-out method.
Yeah.
It's technically a method, and then even like tracking your ovulation or like your cervical mucus. Does
That's
that
so
gross you out?
sexy.
Charlie's
do you
all
like
about
me
that.
do you like me talking that way to you?
Talk dirtier.
Cervical mucus.
Tell me about shedding my lining.
The first day of your menstrual cycle is the beginning of the whole ovulation cycle.
Tell me more.
But
I digress.
But yeah, like, so you haven't thought about if you're gonna go back on it or not?
Well, I don't know. So it's part of like what I've talked about with my therapist as well as with Kyle. Because I really want to know like what my baseline emotions are, like how I sit there and how I'm measuring on my own depression and anxiety levels without having hormones
extra
in my
added.
body. because I'm curious if that would help me, because I've been, going through therapy for a couple years now, and I really like it, but sometimes I get to a certain point with my, just full blown my PMS, where I get really depressed and anxious and sad. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a hard time. And I still get that, even though I don't necessarily get my period anymore. Like I get it sometimes. I can go 3 months without it or 6 months without it. It's not as predictable with this implant. But I still get that, the emotional symptoms of my period.
That makes sense. Did you know that technically, when you have a period and you're on birth control, it's not actually it's a birth control period. It's not an actual menstrual cycle.
Well, I would assume that that's how it would be because it limits your hormones, so it has to limit everything else that happens.
Yeah.
Like sometimes birth control, you don't even get your period, so that clearly has to be your birth control related. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially for me with this, because this birth control that I have now is almost like a mucus birth control, because it creates that mucus layer, and I feel like that also changes my period. It's not like a regular, as weird as this sounds, you have your regular period smell, you're oh, it smells like blood, it smells like my period. Mm-hmm. Mine, it's totally different. It doesn't have that iron smell to it. It's totally different type of period, totally different type of blood. It's not even red blood.
When I got Mirena removed, it was almost right after I had. It was almost the bleeding after I had Cole.
A lot of bleeding.
It was a lot of bleeding, and it was that heavy metal. That's kind of gross, but it was that heavy metal smell. It was it had been, my lining hadn't been shedding, and it all released at one time, and it was fucking disgusting. But that, that's gross. Sorry.
But that's just part of life. And I'm there's a part of me that's just very curious to figure out who I am without having the hormones added into my body.
Yeah.
Well, I even think, because obviously when I got pregnant, I was not on birth control. And I think, even though I was going through a lot in that time, and I'm always learning how to, deal with emotions and everything like that. I think I was able to understand my feelings better and navigate through them, rather when I was on the hormonal birth control. It's nothing connects. You said, you just feel completely fucking insane the whole time. The dog. Sorry. But yeah, it's the whole, if you feel completely insane. And, without those extra hormones added, you have a little bit of almost a little bit of clarity, I guess.
Yeah.
At least for me.
I really liked myself without birth control, and I was off of it for quite a while, a few years.
I was off birth. Me too.
So I really liked my body as it regulated, and I liked myself and how I was not on birth control for the most part,
Yeah, I mean, now I track not my cervical mucus necessarily, but I track my period with the moon, and it's super, super helpful. I start to layers. I start to when I know, I always mark it on the calendar. Full moon is when I start my my menstrual cycle. New moon is when I ovulate. But it's just so nice to be oh my God, I feel like an insane person right now. Why am I so emotional? And then you're oh, I'm about to start my period. And it's getting into that flow and recognizing what's going on in my body. It just helps me a lot, mentally, I'm not insane. I'm on my period and my hormones are going crazy, and this is normal. And it helps me feel better about myself.
I'm curious. I want to learn that for myself. But I also really want that 99.999% sure there will not be a baby coming out of me.
It's so fucking hard, because hell yeah. That's one thing that Jake and I really talked about before getting the IUD out was like, okay, if we get this out, like there's a big chance, you know, that you could have another baby. And it's like, whoo, we've worked really hard
To not be there.
not happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Because condoms do suck.
Preach. So kind of going on a little bit of a tangent or just shifting gears. I know both of you have gone to see therapists before in the past and like worked on just kind of mental health and yourselves. What has been your experience with that?
Like having a therapist, like how it...
Yeah, how it's helped you or what you've learned from it or...
Dude, I think my therapist has like fucking saved my life in every way. Honestly, if I like miss a session or two, like the past few weeks, we've had a hard time finding like a babysitter, and our schedules have just been so insane that I haven't seen her in a month. And dude, I can like feel it. I can feel me wanting to like be like. I almost texted her today and was like, "Can we just have like a FaceTime call? Like, I really have a lot of questions. I need to like get this out to you because, like I said, it helps you navigate your emotions. It helps, you know."
I think it helps like lay everything like out in front of you so you can it'll help
Exactly.
you like break it down and realize like what's going on easier.
Yeah, exactly. And even, you know, when sometimes you're, you have moments where you're like, I'm feeling this way and I really don't understand why it's like not necessarily an overreaction, but there's an underlining something else is going on and it's just portraying this way. And it's super nice to have someone be like, okay, like, so talk me through how you felt in that moment so we can figure out, like, you know, you're not really mad about the fucking apple falling on the floor. You're really mad that Jake did not pick up the fucking apple. Sorry, that was just the first thing that came to my mind. So, I mean, like, and then that goes back to, like, Jake he doesn't look at me and I don't know. Just, you know, it goes back to, like, those little things that you're, like, you don't really understand. Like, it's coming out in different ways. And I think everyone can benefit from having a therapist because also it's having someone kind of look on the outside and have a different view, and especially someone who's not like fully involved in your life, like just having that outside view from a professional who like knows how to like get through all of that.
And who doesn't tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear.
Exactly. And even like letting you figure it out on your own and like getting that confidence, like, okay, like these are the questions I need to ask myself. Like I can do that when I'm feeling this way, and feeling powerful and, you know, like control always isn't the best thing, but like being in control of yourself is a big power. You know, some people don't have that. Some people, you just let other people control them. So
Yeah.
I think my therapist, dude, she really has saved me in so many ways.
What inspired both of you to start going to therapy?
Caitlyn, what inspired you?
I don't know if it was inspiration.
That's what I was just about to say. I don't think
Or
it was.
if it was
I think
more
it
like
was like
trauma.
desperation.
I started going to the same therapist that Charlie was going to, and that was just, I think because of everything going on in my life, I wanted to figure out relationships, who I was as a person, like, you know, past traumas. A lot of it is past traumas from, you know, when we were younger, a lot that we had gone through. And it helped me be able to, like, look back and see how, like, this situation affected me at this particular time because of this reason. And so that helped me as far as figuring that out. And also she gave me, like, homework and stuff to do. So she would give me, like, like packets where you would answer questions, and then it would kind of tell you like where you're at or where you should be at, or like explaining what one meaning, like what this particular feeling like means and how you can dig deeper. So I feel like that I should still be going. I haven't gone in years because it's expensive, of course. Not everyone has the money for it, and I just didn't prioritize it. But But I think I always wanted to be a therapist because I think that it's interesting. I like learning about that kind of stuff. I like learning about all the different emotions and people and the thinking processes. And, I just think it's all that super interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree. For me, I think it was, I honestly don't even remember when I started seeing my therapist, but my mom had seen her for many years before that. And I had gotten in trouble around when I was like 18, 19, and so it was like looked good with the courts to have a therapist. So that's when I started really seeing a therapist, and then I stopped and, kind of got into some iffy shit. But I think for me, it was more of like a desperation. Like I said, my therapist saved my life. Like I really think she did, because I was in a really bad place with my mom and with my family. And like you said, past traumas. And that's the thing. A lot of the shit comes from past traumas. That's what triggers us. Mm-hmm. And that's what comes up is the past trauma. So, for me too, like working on past traumas, and especially, forgiving, my parents, because of and that's the thing, it's not even their fault. It's just the life that we had. And, my mom being sick, and I had a lot of, anger towards them, which it's not even their fault. And that's something I had to work on, just all the past shit, and still working on today, more just baby related, and having like a husband not husband sort of thing. So it's just navigating through life and having someone there that's like, you're not fucking insane. It's because of this. For me, I always feel like a fucking insane person, and I'm always like, oh no, that feeling's just crazy, you're just crazy. And then going to Susan, I come out of there and I'm like, I'm not crazy. I just have shit like everybody else. And I think it makes me feel better about myself. I come out of there and I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I got this. I can get through this shit. I just got to talk it out with my therapist every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? I really, I don't know how people don't. I personally don't know. I don't know how I would get through it without my therapist. Even moving. Jake and I have talked a lot about moving, and I'm just like,
Like moving states?
yeah. And I don't know what I would do
Without your therapist?
Dude, I really don't.
Yeah.
That's one thing that makes me so nervous.
One thing about moving is you have to get a whole new everything. You have your hairstylist. Okay, well now you got to find a new one. You have somebody who you go to for facials, or wax, get your eyebrows waxed. Whatever it is, you got to find somebody new for anything.
that you trust. Yeah. And yeah.
Same with babysitters.
Dude, exactly. Especially if you're moving somewhere where you don't have any family or you don't know anybody. Mm-hmm. That would be freaky for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But those are good questions, Michaela.
Dropping the hard ones.
I like it. You got any more? Give it to me.
Let me noodle on it for a second. Get the noodle machine working.
What inspired you to go to therapy?
Honestly, so I always, before I started going to therapy, viewed therapy negatively.
I think a lot of people do. Oh, I don't need a therapist.
100%.
Well, and part of it was,
I'm not crazy.
it just made me feel like there's something in me that's innately broken that I need to fix, and I didn't like the thought of other people telling me that I'm flawed. Perfectionist over here and a control freak. And part of it too is that it was always mom that said it, and she always said it jokingly, oh, I gotta start, make a savings account so you can go to therapy about this. And I'm like, haha, Sandra, so funny. And then it was after Michael died, because that was just a whole shit show of a situation.
And that's your dad?
Yes, when my dad died. And it was just, we were not close. He was not a good guy, and we had not been in contact for 15 years. And then, we get a message from Aunt Jessie, and she's like, hey, he's not doing well. Maybe you should go see him. And we fly out, and Caitlyn was amazing and came with me. And it was just the shitstorm where they're like, I'm seeing this man who is my father, but has never been I shouldn't say has never been my dad, but has not been my dad in most of my life.
Well, not only that, but he was dying. It wasn't that he wasn't doing well. He was dying. He was not responsive, tube in his nose.
Yeah, intubated, yellow, like he was crazy jaundice with this big distended belly. And
He just didn't look like what we remember him looking like.
And then I was thrust into the situation where the hospital's like, cool, now you're power of attorney. And I'm like, excuse me? And then there was his partner there who's like, yes, we're married, but they weren't married. And the hospital was like, okay, show us your certificate, and then you'll be power of attorney. And she's like, well, I don't have it.
It was a big mess.
Yeah, it was just a big mess, and it was just so much, so fast. And then, like, I kind of came home, and life went back to normal for a couple days, and then, you know, Uncle Peter called, and he's like, yeah, he died. And it, like, hit me surprisingly hard. And I think I just had, like, this traumatic emotional moment where I was like, nothing's ever going to be resolved. Because, you know, rationally, I feel like I always knew my dad was not going to be a good guy. And we were never going to have that, you know, daughter-father relationship and that dynamic.
But at that time, you could have at least had questions answered.
Yes, or it was still like the little possibility that maybe he will have what Mom calls his come to Jesus moment, and he won't be a bad person anymore, and he'll realize all of his mistakes, and he will try to rectify things. And then just having him dead, I'm like, that's never going to happen. And part of it's like feeling sad for myself, and I'm like, sad that I never got a dad. I never had the family dynamic that I quote unquote deserved, or that other people had, and that wouldn't be an option for me. And then part of it was just being like really angry that he was so self-centered and so full of himself that he didn't get to know you, Caitlyn. He didn't get to know me. He didn't know anything about us. And the only time that we would talk is when he was either asking me for money or using God to shame me, where he's like, the Lord says, daughter shall honor thy father, and you have not done that. Like, sending me letters like that. And just upon his death, and I knew, like, nothing would be rectified for that, and this is just where I'm at. And I had so many loose ends, and I was angry. So I called, and I was like, hey, I think I need to see a therapist about this. And I didn't even necessarily like shop around. I called a clinic that I had heard good things about, and they matched me with my therapist, Julia, and she's been amazing. Like, as you do with someone that you are paying to therapize you, I talk to her about everything. And it's interesting to me how much it has really like evolved from my initial, I want to go to therapy, to feel better about this and to not have quote unquote daddy issues.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's gone from that and from external things, and my sessions are now so much more introspective, which is fucking hard. And it's actually looking at myself and how I approach things and my mindset, and a lot of it goes along, like, my body positivity and stuff like that, which I suck at. And it's hard. And that's why I go to therapy.
Well, there you go. That's a really good reason. That's good.
It's good. I cry like every session, and I hate it.
Dude,
every
me too.
session.
Me fucking too. I always, and then I love it because Susan's like, "What's bringing on those tears? What are you feeling right now?" And I'm like,
Everything.
"I want my mommy."
Yep. Mine's always I straight up have a negative mindset when it comes to crying. I hate crying. It feels like a weakness to me. Like, my mindset around it is so negative, where I'm like, I shouldn't be crying about this. Like, just be rational about it. And you're being over dramatic and overly emotional. And it's just stuff that I always heard growing up. Like, I was always the emotional one, and everything I did was an emotional reaction. And so I feel like I try really hard in my adult life to not
be emotional.
Exactly. And then my therapist is always like, tears are so healing. And that's what I say to other people. I'm like, oh my God, honey, let it out. Just cry. Like, every tear that you're losing is healthy and healing. And then for myself, I'm like, you little bitch, stop it.
I used to be like that, where, you know, like, you'd where I would have like those, like that 1 minute, like full blown freak out. And then you're like, all right, yeah, we're good. Like, you know, we're fine. Everything's good over
Don't worry about it.
here.
I'm good for another week.
Right? Good. When my mom died, that's when because I really wanted to feel all of that. And that's when I think I really fully let go. And now I cry all the time. And not, you know, sometimes it's just nice to have a good little cry. But you really feel better. A big cry, a little cry.
Just a free cry.
Cry all you want.
I have to laugh because I think I've kind of freaked Kyle out a couple times because there have been just a few moments where I'll have a beautiful day. Like we will have a great day together and we'll have dinner and we'll have a nice intimate moment where we have very nice, loving, mutually satisfactory sex. Both of us have orgasms. It's great. Laying there in like the afterglow, and in that moment I'm just like, I'm gonna cry now. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know why. And I like turn to Kyle and I'm like, hey, if you wanted to go play video games now, you totally could, because I'm gonna cry. I told him that, and he's like, why are you crying? I'm like, don't know, it's time. And he's amazing. Like, he's so great where he sits there and he's like, well, no, I'm not gonna leave you alone. He's like, do you want to lay on my chest or do you want me to spoon you? And I'm like, I sweat a lot when I cry. I'll lay on your chest.
That's so sweet.
He's amazing. And he'll like get me tissues. And he's like, do you want music? And I'm like, no. And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, yes.
You want that sad music that'll make you cry more so you can get it all out?
Sometimes when I like feel like I have to really get a good cry in, I'll be like, all right, I gotta go watch a sad movie now.
Yes, get it,
Yes.
to get it started.
Yes.
And then you're like, and now after I'm at that really nice crying part of the movie, I need to go into the shower. Because I feel like that's where I have the best cries. Either when I'm driving, which seems like it is a bad decision to have a
But
meltdown.
I do that too. I do that so often, and you're right, it's a bad idea.
But I've had my best meltdowns in a car.
Me too. Me too. Like you said, you have to pull over for a minute, but hey, it's worth it.
But I don't know. I'm trying to get better about it. I feel like I still am very hard on myself on crying in session, where I will sit there and like purposefully not look at my therapist because I see her face, and I almost have like that mom association now where I see her and I'm like, this is a safe space. I must cry now. And I don't want to because I want to get through what I'm talking about, and I'm like, don't look at her. And you know, Mimi comes to every session with me. She's my therapy dog. And so I sit there, I'm like, don't look at Mimi. Just pet her. I've got like this pile of fur afterwards.
How did you get her to be a therapy dog?
I took her to therapy with me. Like that was it. So
I just took her with.
she's not like a full-blown therapy dog. She's my ESA.
Okay, that's what I was gonna.
But it was one of those, the first session we had, I did not plan my day well, and I was running around and had her with me, and I'm like, well, I have therapy in like 45 minutes, but I was like, it's not enough time for me to go home, drop off the dog, like take her outside, get my shit together, go back to therapy. So we're gonna get there early, and you're coming with me.
She's so small, no one will care.
Yeah, and it's great, and she really does help me, like in those moments where I'm having a hard time or having to be really introspective, or avoiding. I do use her for avoiding sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Where I'm just like, time to pet Mimi while I think about this, or like get my thoughts under control
Together.
and my emotions.
That's nice, and also it could probably help you feel a little bit more like, you know, because when you're feeling so vulnerable, and then you know your dog is there, it just sets that comfort that you're like, all right, you know, you're good. It's kind of like when people say like when you're super drunk or like if you're on like drugs or whatever, and you're like a dog will just like calm you the fuck down no matter what. They like put you back in reality.
Yeah,
almost.
like she licks off my tears if I'm crying. Occasionally she goes like straight for the snot, and I'm like, gross, stop it. You deserve better than that.
Oh, Layla always goes for the nose.
They know. They know when something's
definitely
wrong.
do.
When you're sick, when you don't feel good, when you're depressed, when you're sad. Dogs are good with that.
Dogs
They're
are
the
the
best.
best. They're so pure and good. Like nothing makes me cry more than a movie about dogs. Doesn't even matter if it's a happy movie. I will
I
always sob.
usually can't watch movies about dogs just because they make like they just
I
so,
get
like you said, they're just so like
There's, you know that,
so good.
I think it's Bastille song, The Happier. You know, I want you to be happier. I want you to.
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
So the music video for that has a little girl who has like no friends. She gets teased and she gets a golden retriever puppy, and like the puppy grows up with her and is her best friend, and then the dog fucking dies.
Aww.
And then her father gets her kid a puppy later on. She like has this flashback. I watched that and cried so hard. And Kyle's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you have to watch this music video. And so I play it again and I'm legitimately sobbing. And he's like, why are you watching this if it makes you cry like that? I'm like, they're just so good.
Oh man.
When I was pregnant, I did that all the time. Like, like just a stupid like commercial, and you're like, it's so sweet. Look at them all together.
That freaking extra gum commercial, with the Elvis Presley song in the background. He draws cartoons on the wrappers and gives it to the girl in middle school. And as they get older, and I'm like, damn, that's cute.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to?
I feel like we've talked an awful lot. I keep looking at the timer and I'm like, Michaela, stop talking.
I think it was a fun episode, though.
I'm glad that we got to have you here and kind of share details, because I'm sure people who listen to this are not all moms.
I mean, one right here.
Yeah. So.
And you listen to every episode.
I do listen to every episode.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna lie. Listening to the one of you guys giving birth, I was crossing my legs so tight the entire time.
Jake was came in at the end of us recording that episode, and I remember afterwards he was like, you really gonna post that episode? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, talking about your ripped vagina. And I'm like, yeah, because it fucking happened. And that's the reality of fucking childbirth.
Yeah.
And he's like, looking white, and he's like, yeah, I remember.
And you're like,
exactly. And I'm like, really? I don't remember. Like, was it that bad? He's like,
oh my gosh.
I feel like for guys, though, they're like, I don't know. I know Sherrod has a little bit of an issue. I think he pictures my vagina with a baby coming out of it, and so he doesn't picture it as a regular vagina now, because that's how it is. It goes back to normal. I think that view in his head is what he always sees.
Just a crowning image.
Yeah.
The crowning
Jake has
jewel.
actually told me that one of the main reasons that he is skeptical about having another child is because of watching me go through childbirth.
That's a little rude.
No, not he was like, I don't want you to ever be in that much pain.
Okay,
Yes,
I thought
the
it was
pain.
him literally watching you, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to watch that again.
No.
I misunderstood.
Then I would be really fucking pissed. No, that conversation would not have gone over well. But no, he was very sincere, and he's like, I don't ever want to see you go through that again. That was traumatic for me. He was like, I can't even imagine how it was for you. And I'm like, dude, I got a baby from it.
Yeah,
I got
that
the most
memory goes
perfect-
away. For guys,
does.
it's totally different. They're like,
It's
oh,
etched
hell
in their
no.
brain, but dude, if we didn't forget that pain, we would never have children ever again.
Yep.
I think God did that for a damn
The
reason.
survival of the human race.
Hell
Selective
yeah.
memory.
Yeah, for real. But, Michaela, I'm so glad you came.
Thanks
for having
Been
me.
so good.
Yeah.
This has been fun. I'm glad we were able to do this, and it's great just friends chatting.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, and we aren't even drunk.
Right?
Stone cold sober.
Sober as fuck.
Only thing in our systems are milkshakes.
And they were very good. And a Coke.
All right. Well.
Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, everybody. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Have a good night.
This is RealMomly with Charlie and Caitlyn.
Caitlyn and Charle.